Well, hello there. Good night to you all. So, I came with the review for Kakumeiki Valvrave episode 9 or Valvrave the Liberator. So, this episode was quite good. Uh, and finally, we have new, the two new Valvrave pilots. So, really, this starts when the last one ended with Elf and Aruto in the room, and then Elf is Aruto is kinda admiring Elf because all the planning he do and so on, and he also says that he trusts Elf because Elf actually asked someone he cared about, the princess that you found on last episode. And then Naruto kinda goes or starts to go berserker, and LL kinda knocks him out. So then we have a couple of situations with the students finally kinda made a memorial on the internet for Aina, and the memorial site on the internet is receiving a lot of likes from people from the school, obviously from people in Jior, I guess, and from a lot of people from the Arrows Federation. And the guy with the white shirt, Inuzuka, I finally got his name. Inuzuka is kinda also wondering and struggling to cope with the death of Aina, and later on it's kinda revealed that he was kinda in love of her. And we also have the guy, the bully guy, the Yamada Thunder, kinda trying to get on the Valvrave time after time after time and always getting caught on the process. And then we have a situation that Inozuka kind of tries to goes to the hangar to enter in a Valvrave, and he is kind of stopped by LL, and LL kind of explains in his own personal way that he is not suited to be the pilot for the Valvrave because he is emotionally unstable, and the fact that he is emotionally unstable will be a handicap for the Valvrave, and probably it will affect his performance as a Valvrave pilot, and he says that he does not have it to become the Valvrave pilot or one of the Valvrave pilots. And kinda this guy Inuzaka kinda asks LF so what he should do, and LF during the talk kinda says if you want, he does not say it in these exact words, but the meaning is you cannot be emotionally unstable, and if you want to be stronger, you need to become cold as a machine. This is not exactly what he says, but the meaning behind his words were this. And then we also see that LL is kind of training the students on the academy to becoming soldiers, and we see them doing exercises and so on. He also is the one that came up with a defense system by putting shields on the top of the dome of the model, and when the Dorssians attacked, these kind of shields were controlled in the central room, and they are kind of deflecting the shooting of the Dorssians fleet, because the Dorssians, like always, again came to attack. And then also LL kind of devised a system of having students shooting big cannons from the bottom of the model to defend that position. And one of the guys that is in one of those guns is Inuzaka, the guy with the white shirt. And he kinda interior, he kinda, the message of L entered in his brain, in his own personality, and then he's shooting down Dorssian drones and he's saying, as cold as a machine, as cold as a machine, as cold as a machine, and so on. So he's in some way kind of vanquished, he's winning in a sense over his emotional unstable behavior, and he's kind of become more sharp and more stronger in a way. And then the Dorssians kind of devise a plan later on that we have the fleet of Kane appearing and attacking the model, and then Naruto and Lukino kind of go out to pursue the Dorssian fleet. That Commander Kane, after suffering several losses, kind of orders them to retreat, but it's a trap to lure the Valvraves out, and then another Dorssian fleet appears with the goal to destroy the module. And LL, it was not a, it is say that he predicted this, but we see that when this second fleet appears, he is kind of looking at a kind of laptop, and he's saying that from the top students of the academy, only 5 remain to be Valvrave pilots, and 2 of them are 2 that actually show interest in becoming Valvrave pilots. This meaning the guy with the white shirt in Osaka, because he wants to avenge Aina death because he loved her, and the guy Yamada that also wants to avenge his friends, but he's kinda a bully and he likes fighting and so on. And those two, according to what LL saw on the system, I guess, were enabled to become pilots or have the abilities necessary to become pilots. So then we have kind of a power down during all the module, and Inuzaka is fighting on the hangar with the guns against. Then a drone of the Dorssian fleet kind of hits his spot, and he is enabled to evacuate the place, and then the nest gun is destroyed, and he kind of goes to the hangar, and at the same time the cell door of Yamada that the guy is in prison kind of opens, and he kind of is set free, and the two meet at the hangar, and Yamada is kind of trying to enter in the yellow Valvrave, and then Inuzaka came and confronts him and so on, and they have a heated discussion, and Yamada punches Inuzaka and vice versa, and then finally Inuzaka kind of decides to pilot a Valvrave, and he goes to the blue Valvrave, and when he's there he's kind of thinking on Aina, and again the question appears if he want to resign his mankind, and he says yes, and he becomes the pilot of the blue Valvrave, and he is able to defend the module because the Dorssian ships kind of launch the beam cannon at the module, and he kind of deflects the attacks. So the blue Valvrave kind of possess defensive abilities or superior defensive abilities, especially in deflecting attacks or breaking attacks. Then he struggles against the Dorssians, and he kind of almost destroys him. Then another wave another wave of attackers came, and he's kind of at a disadvantage, and then the yellow Valvrave came out, and it was Yamada that became the pilot of the yellow Valvrave. And the yellow Valvrave basically is a fighting type Valvrave, much suited to the personality of Yamada, and he goes crazy and destroys everything that he founds, and then he has a lot of firepower. I think the yellow Valvrave probably so far, because still a Valvrave remains without a pilot. But this yellow Valvrave, comparing to Rukino, to Aruto, and to Inuzaka, apparently is the Valvrave with the most powerful uh, attacks in terms of firepower. And he kind of makes a crazy attack that he kind of possess 8 or 10 arms. He kind of, I don't know if they are swords, light swords, something like that, weapons, whatever. But he kind of picks 8 different types of weapons and kind of destroys the fleet, the second Dorssian fleet, and one of those machines that the former buddies of LL use, he destroys it completely. And then we have the commander of the second fleet kind of orders that the most powerful weapon they have, the beam cannon or something like that, is shot at the model, and then Inuzaka kinda is able to break the attack, and apparently he also converts the energy of the shot and then he shoots it back to the Dorssian Admiral fleet ship, and he kinda destroys it or renders it unable to fight. So basically, Yamada and Inuzaka kind of defended the model because Aruto and Rukino were fighting someone somewhere else because they were lured into a trap by the Dorssians. But LL, it's hinted that he knew about the trap, but he intended to be that way because he intended that Yamada and Inuzaka kind of became Valvrave pilots. It appears to me that it was his plan all along. And then we have a situation when the battle ends, Naruto kinda comes and he kinda tries to punch LL, and LL blocks it, and then he kinda goes trying to hit him again, and it's Inuzaka that stops Naruto, and he says that for Naruto to allow him, Inuzaka, to fight alongside him, to protecting others. Um, and the thing is kinda, and then right at the end of the episode, we have the professor, the guy, the old guy with white cape. He is kinda in the lab and with a gun, and then he senses movement and he kinda goes for the gun and hits LL and harms him. And then LL says the name of the guy, I don't remember, and says his number tag. And apparently this guy is a military researcher of Jior, and he's kinda, LL is kinda asking him why a high scientist military person of the Jior army is doing in the academy. And he also says that all the teachers, except the teacher Nanami, all of them were Jior military personnel. And so he is kind of asking the professor what the hell is happening. And then the professor kind of smiles and say that all the staff in all the school, all of them are Jior soldiers. And basically this model was simply made for the Valvraves. So let's say in a wide range or in the wide scope, even the students that are there are in fact or were to become in fact soldiers of the armies of the army of Jior, besides being the Valvrave pilots, or in a broader sense, the plan of the Jior was to make all the students Valvrave pilots. So what is the meaning of this? It was Jior that was developing some technology and intended to attack the Dorssians or Arus, and could be that the reason why the Dorssians attacked, and what appeared to be a sneaked attack was in fact a step taken by the Dorssian Empire to defend their own domains against the pending menace that would eventually come from Jior. This kind of changes a little bit of our perspective, or in the least in my opinion it changes a little of my perspective, because this could not be at all. However, if the Dorssians knew by intelligence that Jior was making an entire base for Valvraves, why a neutral country like Jior will need this type of fighting machine? What was the hidden agenda? We may ask, what was the hidden agenda of the leaders of Jior, or of the military leaders of Jior? And could that be the explanation why the Dorssians attacked first before the project was fully completed? So this kinda make us wonder if the Dorssians are in fact the bad guys, or they kinda became the bad guys, but they were kinda making a preemptive attack against a military force that was being prepared by Jior. So this kinda makes you wonder, and also makes you wonder why LL intends to betray Dorsia. He was a very passionate Dorsian soldier. He was loyal to the Dorsian cause. He intends to save the princess. I will assume that the princess is, if not the heir of the, if not the empress, she is the heir of the empire. So, by default, if LL loves the princess, it not makes sense in betraying her or betraying his country, joining another country, unless he intends, let's say, free her from her destiny. But that does not make much sense. So, having in mind the revelation that the professor and all the staff that live in the module, except the teacher that was appointed as interim president, all the staff, teachers and so on, all of them were Dorsian or were Jior military, and also the students apparently were or intended to be military personnel or Valvrave pilots. So basically the school, the module, is a great military base and research development center. So this kinda also explains why the Dorsians attacked first before, or hoping that the project was not completed. And also this kinda explains why Kane of the Dorsians is so interested in the Valvraves, because apparently he knew or knows about that technology and what is behind it. So it's very interesting. And besides this overall plot, we have two new Valvrave pilots. Inuzaka became the pilot of the Blue Valvrave, and Yamada became the pilot of the Yellow Valvrave. So, this is my review for Kakumeiki Valvrave, episode 9, or Valvrave the Liberator. Hope you enjoy, stay well, and peace.